Alright, here's another video of homeless camps, this time in Winnipeg. Well, let's get into
Is
it.
looking at ways to clean up homeless camps around Winnipeg, but it could come with a hefty multi-million-dollar price tag.
They're a common sight along Winnipeg's riverbanks, encampments.
Yeah, just like the riverbank of my small town. There's a bridge that goes over the river. I look down when I'm driving over the bridge, and there's this huge homeless camp right by the river. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just throw their trash and human waste in the river.
And the city says it needs to be cleaned up.
I've taken tours with residents, for example, in the waterfront drive area of encampments, and we've been working in the past. We'll continue to work together to get encampments cleaned up.
But it could come at a big cost, according to a new report. It says there are currently around 150 homeless camps spread out across the city. Cleanups last year cost taxpayers nearly $84,000. That was for 162 cleanups at $517 each. The report pegs weekly cleanups at all camps at $4 million a year.
That's overkill. It's way beyond what folks are calling for.
Main Street Project says major weekly cleanups are not needed. Kate Schoberg says those who live in these encampments want to keep them clean, but don't have the access to be able to.
So this woman, she says they want to keep their homeless encampment clean. I don't want to doubt that, but I'm going to say the majority don't care. And here's my own experience. Where I live, there's a beachfront, right? And every time I walk down there, I see like a vehicle parked. Like there was this one time, there was this guy sleeping in the passenger seat of his vehicle, but the rest of his car was jam-packed with stuff. It looked like he was living out of his car. And the whole ground around this area where people park is littered with trash. So here's what I'm thinking. These people that live out of their cars, they just throw their trash on the ground. And why would they care? It's not their property, right? Alright, so this photo is from the video. Looking at this photo, what do you see? Well, I see a Canadian flag. It's probably made in China, go figure. I see garbage and makeshift structures. But I also see a vehicle. Does this vehicle belong to one of the homeless people? I'm assuming so, because it's parked there. And it looks pretty spiffy, well, from the outside anyway. It's definitely nicer than everything else around it, that's for sure. And again, I've seen people living out of their vehicles. So I can believe that there's someone living out of that vehicle in the picture. And again, people just throw their trash on the ground because they don't care about the ground because it's not their ground. So, anywho, summarizing this whole homeless crisis, here's my thoughts on it. There's like 3 types of homeless people. You got your addicts, substance abusers, you got your mentally ill, and you got the people who just can't find a place to live. Oh, and guess what? There's a bonus group of people too. People who choose to be homeless. Why? Because it's cheaper. So here's how I would fix it. You know how they call these homeless camps? Well, here's what I would do if I was in charge. Rather than giving $6 billion to Ukraine, which you'll probably never get back, I would use that $6 billion to build voluntary homeless camps, which would be divided between male and female, and then they'd be further divided between who has a mental illness, who has a substance abuse problem, who can't find a house, and again, the 4th group of people who choose to be homeless, who of course choose to be homeless so they won't even be there to begin with. So anyway, the mentally ill people, try to get them some help. The people with a substance abuse problem, try to get them cleaned up so they could be functioning members of society. And the people who can't find a house, well, at least they'll have a roof over their head until they can find a place to live on their own. And hey, if they have a job, get them to pay some rent. Because if people know they can live in a place for free, they won't want to leave. Anywho, that's it for my thoughts on the matter. Take care out there in Clown World.